Welcome to The Boy and the Bear. It's Old Firm Week.
Glasgow Derby.
We can't even agree what to call that. In the green corner, the easiest man to annoy in the north of the Clyde, Paddy Boy. How we doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Nice and calm there. And in the blue corner, our wee teddy bear, Scotty. How are you doing, pal?
I'm good, lads. How are you?
Very well, thanks, mate.
Good.
Very well. Let's just get straight into it, boys. Rangers and Celtic are kicking into gear with a 9-0 aggregate win this weekend. Half the world suddenly want to buy the Celtic squad. Matt O'Reilly has just signed for Brighton just before we came on for this recording, and a record Scottish deal. Rangers have failed to qualify for the Champions League. That has cost him just as much as the O'Reilly transfer fee. Scotty had an episode to himself and a 30-minute breakdown that I missed, and all of a sudden this feels like a huge game at the weekend for so many reasons. Enough from me though, straight onto the compliments, boys. Pat, you first, so Scotty doesn't get shafted again, please, mate.
No problem at all. I took 2 seconds to work out what you meant by 9-0 aggregate win. I was like, wait a minute. But,
Didn't realise two teams had amalgamated, you know?
I know it.
Some of us look at both of the scores, eh?
No, I'm going to pay Scott an actual compliment this week. Hard not to after a 6-0 win. Very impressive, and I think, took everyone by surprise because all the narrative about Rangers in the last few weeks has been how dreadful everything is on and off the pitch. So can't do much better than a 6-0 win. And I love it when the Rangers fans get their hopes up just before a game at Parkhead. It's always the best kind of Glasgow Derby victory to get, is when they think they're going to win. But yeah, good performance, good result, fair play.
Well, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, obviously, you just mentioned it there about the fee they got for O'Reilly. I think that's absolutely amazing. I think that's got to be the compliment. They picked the guy up for what, $1 million, $1.5 million?
1.5, yeah.
1.5, yeah. And then they've made that Scottish transfer record. I mean, that, and he's been here 2.5 years, is that right? So,
yeah.
Yeah, I think in 2.5 seasons to turn that player into that amount of profit is excellent, and I think it's something that we need to strive for as well as a club, to continue to push and get value for money for players. And yeah, I think it can only be a good thing for Scottish football.
So what you're doing is you're praising the Celtic board?
Yes.
Superb.
Yes, I am.
Great start to the episode. It's funny though, in a week there's been a £50 million swing between the two clubs, with Rangers obviously failing to qualify and then Celtic getting 25 million. That's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Madness.
It'd be crazier if you don't spend it.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm sure you're going to get onto that.
We'll come on to that
in the next section. But I'm gonna stick with Scotty. Scotty, two Souness and a Sibo, please, mate.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the first one's obvious. To score 6 goals against any team is excellent. I think, like you said, Pat, nobody saw that coming. Everyone's a bit doom and gloom now, and to go and put a performance in like that and be clinical. And you look at the guy I've slated all last season, Dessers. He was absolutely clinical on Saturday. He was brilliant. And
some might say your best player.
It's hard to dis. I think it's absolutely mental that he's now becoming undroppable for us. Which, but fair play to the guy.
It's what you've got to do to really get on the wrong side of the Rangers fans is to score absolute shit tons of goals. Take Tavernier and Dessers out of that team. Get him out!
The same could be said about your board. Spending millions and work and winning leagues is a way to get them out as well, isn't it? But no, I think to score 6 is great. I think it's brilliant play as well. I think obviously we've talked about Rabi Matondo, Tom Lawrence. They contributed in a really positive way, So yeah, it was good. I think the other one for me was it was good to see a bit of shape from the team as well. A bit, you could see a lot more directness, and rather than just humping it up the park, it was how can we break down this team? How can we get them turned really quickly? And you saw that with Tavernier effectively playing as a midfielder. Cutting in and allowing Tierney the full right side. So yeah, it was interesting because we've not seen a great deal of shape as just being a one-dimensional football so far. And I don't know. I did say that to you boys. I don't know if that's because Clement's not got his team in or the players that he wants in, so he can't really play the way he wants. But now you're starting to see it with some of the players. You're looking at Yefty at left back just bombing on and taking it.
Finally. You could say you're finally making use of that big Hampden pitch, but
yeah, but interesting to see what happens next week. Yeah, when we go back to Ibrox in a few weeks. So,
last game at Hampden for quite a while.
Hopefully not, mate. Hopefully not. I'm not biting today.
What's your second one, Scotty?
That was my second compliment. It's still my fault you're not paying attention. And my big Sebo moment, I feel that we need to get a few more of the young lads involved. You know, we're giving minutes to Kieran Dowell, and I just feel like you've got Bailey Rice there, you've got Cole McKinnon. I would rather see those boys get minutes.
Wait a minute. You win 6-0 and you want to drop players still?
The segment is about what one thing I would like to see. I'm not saying I've not mentioned a single player that played well. I'm mentioning a player that I don't think deserves a shirt, and that's Kieran Dowell. I don't think he offers anything.
You could argue that if you're 4 or 5-0 up, that's a perfect time to.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. You know, well, we were 4-0 up when
they brought on 3 youth players.
Aye,
they brought on Fraser, McCausland, and Dowell.
Dowell's not a young player, mate. Dowell's 26 years old.
Aye, but did he not come through? Is he not?
No, he's English, mate. He's from Everton. Was he not a Everton youth prospect or something? He's 26 years old.
I mean, do you think McCausland is good enough though? Because that's the main one, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, McCausland's getting a lot of hate, as I mentioned last week in the episode with Pat. He's getting a lot of stick, and I actually think he's good off the bench. I think that's the perfect place for him this season.
But he's also not really one of the youngsters you want to test out, is he? Because he's been in the squad for a while.
Yeah,
it feels like he doesn't really.
I would say he's now established. Like, you know, he's part of the first team. He's not getting dropped from the first team. What I mean by you've got Cole McKinnon and Bailey Rice, two of the
Rice and McKinnon sounds like an accountant firm.
Well, they might have to get a career as an accountant if they don't make it at Rangers, you know.
Well, playing for Rodgers, you might need an accountant.
Yeah, a face painter or an accountant, either one. But I just think you've given a guy 26 in Dowell that offers nothing for us, doesn't really contribute, and I just feel like he's taking a jersey away from a couple of young guys that we could give a minute to, especially when we're up at that scoreline. So yeah, that's my only gripe from that. I'd like to see a few more youngsters getting minutes.
You throw any of them in against Celtic? Keep them on the bench?
Keep them on the bench. I think the only one that you would be confident in throwing in if needed would be McCausland, because as Pat alluded to, he has been around the squad for the full of last season. So yeah, I think he's the only one you would be comfortable starting if need to be. But yeah, I think everyone else is more bring them on.
Whoever plays in the night's going to get haunted by Maida anyway.
Yeah, we'll get on to that one, mate. Okay.
Well, let's move on to Pat. 2 Di Canios, and I'm not going to get this right to the end of the season, do we?
That was right.
That was.
I got it right.
Hey. Super, well done.
Thanks.
I'll do the obvious first, which was a great win in absolutely brutal conditions, like monsoon season in Scotland. To be able to play football well with lashing rain and wind like that, really, really thoroughly impressive victory. Just really enjoyed watching Celtic. I thought we played very, very good football, kept the ball, never really looked a threat at all. And sometimes when you go to these types of games and the rain, the conditions are against you, you can sort of see it being a bit of a banana skin in a battle, but it just never even looked close to being that. And St Mirren are a team that have played in Europe and were actually pretty decent last season, and obviously we've just sold the young Prince O'Reilly. So yeah, really, really comfortable win. Great to see. I feel quite similar to how Scotty feels about Celtic never playing youth players. So to see Francis Turley come on for his debut was really, really pleasing. And McGregor and Hatate absolutely bossed it. So really encouraging. The main Decanio, the main star for this week is Rodgers' comments about the board and Celtic investment. He's clearly still hurting about how some of the Celtic fans perceive him after leaving for Leicester, and I think he's just gone full U-turn. I am your man moment. And I am so here for it, man.
Has he done a Craig Levine? Just like, no fucks given to her kind of thing.
Oh, well, I've got the comments here, Scotty, if you want me to read them to you. So I thought Pat might bring it up. So here we go.
You do it in his accent?
I really didn't want to. There are a number of things I won't go into here. That's how he started it.
Wow.
Having come back in and gone through 3 windows now, we have to put it right as a football club. We shouldn't have been getting into the last week in the position we're in. That's the reality. However, that's something for us after this window. As I said, we'll get the players in that we want. It's taken a lot longer than I would have liked as a Football Manager. That is my brutally honest answer on it.
King Brendan.
That is a very
isn't it?
Strong statement for a Football Manager. By the way, I just say, because I get what you're saying, Pat, a Football Manager that also abandoned the club mid-season. So I did find that a little bit as a neutral,
but partially for the reasons that he's talking about there, because when he left, he was working with a threadbare squad that hadn't been invested in, and I think he's basically put the board in the position now where if the players don't arrive, he can say, well, I was told that they would. This is me setting out my stall. And
do you think he's just protecting himself because do you think at one point Brendan Rodgers does want to do a good enough job with Celtic so he gets a Premier League job again? And that's basically his game, isn't it?
Well, I think it always was. He wants to come back and be at Celtic for a slightly longer time period this season and make progress in Europe. That's been the chat from the start. He's not going to be here forever. But Brendan Rodgers is always also looking out for himself. He is the Brodge. That's what he does.
Gucci belt. Remember, boys, Gucci belt.
But I think it's very clever to have said that he must know that there are arrivals due this week for him to come out and be so balls on the table with that, because if there's not arrivals now, then that's just damning, and he will be able to quite rightly say, well, you told me that the players were going to be coming in and they've not, and we've now lost O'Reilly. So it's really, really, really pleasing to hear that from a Celtic perspective. He's essentially saying what, I've been moaning about, and you two are boring me saying it, but that articulates what all the fans are thinking.
What would be an acceptable number or spend for you at the end of the windows?
Well, he already wanted a midfielder in before O'Reilly left, and he's also on record as saying, so if O'Reilly leaves, we need 2 midfielders in. So we need 2 midfielders. We absolutely need a left back because there's only one, and I think we need.
I thought he was the best one.
No, I know what you need. I'm saying, let's be realistic. What would you realistically expect Celtic to do before the end of the window?
There's a very different.
And also there's a possibility of that, if Kyogo and Hatate also go, then it's a different answer. Yeah, but
there's a difference between what I'd like and what I expect. To be diplomatic, if nobody leaves, at the very least 3. What do I expect? This probably after, as soon as we finish recording this pod, the young left back from Barcelona will arrive. He's imminent on a loan deal, no option to buy, and then we might get a deadline day signing of Engels, or I can't pronounce the other guy's name from America, but they're both centre midfielders.
Is that the boy from LAFC?
Yes, his name is.
You've got to be thinking then that the board won't let Kyogo go if they're not going to have a striker lined up.
Yeah, and interestingly, wasn't trusted to start against St Mirren. He'd got the nod instead. So I don't know what's going on there. Who knows?
But then you've spent £9.5 million on a striker. Do you mean?
And just brought in potentially 30. So
yeah. But what I mean is you've just spent it on the striker. So ideally, he is going to be a starter for you. Do you mean? And that's
same price as Edward. It's big things expected of him. So to cut that section short, that it's brilliant to hear Brendan Rodgers echoing the sentiment of the fans. Take it with a pinch of salt, because I think he's also now in a place where he's trying to please the fans. But he must surely know that there's arrivals imminent for him to have the confidence to come out and say that to every single media outlet, every interview. He was all over it.
I think it was more for the fans as well.
Yeah, I think he's trying to pacify everyone ahead of a big weekend. If he was to come out and say, we might get 1 or 2 deals done, which still might happen, that would just lead to, a very, very hostile Celtic Park ahead of a massive game at the weekend. So, that was really, really pleasing to hear. And, it remains to be seen if the arrivals will actually arrive.
Okay. Your Dewey? Or is that your Dewey?
My Dewey, well, I suppose that's a bit of both, isn't it? That's a long-winded compliment. But, my Dewey is, obviously, it's very, very sad to see O'Reilly go. I just want to take a quick second to say, how refreshing it's been that he wasn't forced to move away. He was still giving his all while he was at Celtic. And it's, I feel like I've been cheated on by my missus seeing him in a Brighton top. It's absolutely brutal. So that's probably my Dewey. In
the words of the streets, dry your eyes, mate.
Yeah, but I wish I wish nothing but the best to Matt O'Reilly. I think he'll be at a top 4 club in England very, very soon. And
Is it Brighton become a top 4 club the way it started the season?
They recruited very well this season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's tinged with a bit of sadness, but it's a great move for him. If it wasn't going to sign for one of the big 4, then I think that's the best club in England you could have gone to. So, no, good on him. And thank you, Matt.
And that leads us swiftly on to our listeners' questions for this week. So, Ivan.
Hey!
Welcome to season 2, Ivan. Does Scotty expect Clement to attempt a more attacking approach against Celtic this season, particularly in the Parkhead matches?
Yeah, I do. I think we'll play with a lot more purpose and a lot more intent. I don't think it'll be as one-dimensional as it was in the last couple of games. I think you're seeing that the way he's using FD as a left back, he's driving forward. You've got, as I mentioned at the start, like Tavernier's pulling into midfield, which is weird because it's creating all this space for Tierney, and I think that's a key difference. And I think that makes us more attacking and gives us a bit more varied options when we are attacking. The only concern I do have is if we are attacking in that sense, Tom Lawrence is slow as hell, and I just feel like that midfield too is just going to run him over. Do you know what I mean? So that is a concern. So it'll be interesting to see how he sets up on Sunday. But yeah, I'm fully expecting him to go out and give a good account of ourselves and make a go at it. Because I do feel like there is vulnerabilities you can expose with Celtic. I think, as we've mentioned before, it is just a case of, obviously guys start really well, start really fast, and it's like, can you withstand that to then hit them on a counter?
There's definitely vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and I do think, sorry Pat, I do think like Tierney especially is going to, I think that'll be a really interesting battle with Greg Taylor. I think you can see Tierney's got the quality already, so it would be interesting to see how if he can get the better of Taylor, which I think he will over the course of the game. But it'll be interesting. I do, yes, I do.
But I'm not being funny as well, but it might just be in the screen I was watching the Celtic game on. Carter Vickers doesn't look in the best of shape.
No?
Any concerns over that at all?
Absolutely no concerns over Carter Vickers, no.
No, it looked like he was, don't know, just thinking maybe against all the other teams you can maybe get away with that kind of physicality and the way he looked like he was kind of carrying himself a little bit, but...
I'll let him know what you think. You'll be...
I wasn't calling him fat. I don't want him in my door.
Podcaster calls out Carter Vickers.
I just meant maybe obviously
you're a 1.2% body fat overweight.
Yeah, I'm gonna regret that one.
Rather you mean it. You got him and you let him know.
Well, listen, I wanted to finish that part with just saying, Scotty, would you take a draw in the game, or do you want to? Obviously, you want to win, but is it almost not a must win, but it really would set a precedent if you did?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd take a draw. I think anyone reasonable
shite
would
bag.
Take a draw.
Yeah, that is shite bag.
I know, but you would take a draw, right? Given
I don't think you would. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm not. You just said, obviously, I want to win, and that's obviously correct. I would want to win, but the question was, would you take a draw? And I'm saying yes, you would take a draw, given that our squad isn't nearly complete. We're still trying to build this team of Clement. So to go there with no fans in a very hostile environment with a lot of players who are new to this fixture, I think a draw is very respectful. I don't think it's a must win, but I think if we do win, it actually sets us up and gives us a bit of confidence and a shot in the arm that we can make a really good goal and we can take the title to Celtic. Do I think that changes if I draw? No. I think if we get hammered on Sunday, then that could derail your season before it's even began. Do you know what I mean? So
who needs to win more, Rangers or Celtic? Pat, I'll come to you first on that.
Rangers need to win more. Their off-field noise has been a lot louder than Celtic's this season. But come 12 o'clock on Sunday, I will want nothing more than the win over Rangers. These are the games that define seasons. These are the games where there's no excuses. You have to turn up and you have to win, particularly at home. I know I was whining Scotty about taking the draw, but I'm always of the mindset that a draw at Ibrox is a good result unless you absolutely mathematically need to win it. But I don't think there's any argument that Rangers need this one more than Celtic.
Agree with that, Scott?
Yeah, I do. I think we've not beat Celtic for a number of seasons now. Some of the performances are very questionable, and I do think this, if we can win, this would set up a lot of confidence for this team and the manager, and also I think it would get the fans on board a bit more with certain players, and just make everything a wee bit cheerier than it has been. And obviously there has been a lot of noise off the field, so I think a win on Sunday would go a long way to easing that. So,
do you think you have to beat Celtic at Celtic Park at some point this season to win the league?
Yes, I do. I think you've got to beat them. I think just sets a marker. I think some point, it's going to come down to the head-to-head games, and I think they're going to play a big part this year.
Well, thanks, Ivan, for the question. Genuinely, thank you. With the allocation, lads, is that for all games this season now that they're not doing it again, or is it just these first two?
Just the first two, because obviously I think there was uncertainty according to Celtic weren't very happy with the fact that there was no guarantee that Rangers would be back at Ibrox in January. But obviously everything that's come out in this last week it's all on schedule, and the planning permission's been given, so everything's in the works. I don't know if the board have just tried to appease the fans by giving in too early and not waiting and just going, right, well, we'll give you allocation. We want to make sure we get the guaranteed away allocation at Ibrox, because everything's come in. The steel, the seats are on this week. It's just the inside of the concourse. So in the next 3 weeks, it should all be ready to go. So
congratulations, that's fantastic.
No, but I just think I think Celtic shat the bed. I do. I think they shat the bed.
No.
You asked me my opinion on this.
That's not your opinion. Your opinion, your club's absolute tin pot when it comes to this, and it's an absolute shambles. And again, Brendan Rodgers' statement on it was pretty damning, I think, for a Celtic.
Brendan Rodgers can go and do one. Him and Craig Levine can go and fuck off. That's what they can do.
I've said this multiple times on this podcast. It is single-handedly the most frustrating part of Scottish football. The fact that you two, as clubs, cannot, and also the SFA are so weak that there's no away fans of these games, because they're some of the best games in world football.
Yep. And we talked about this last year. We talked about this last year, though, and we both agreed that it is embarrassing, and it's the pinnacle of Scottish football. It's the fixture that everyone tunes into.
But it's a Rangers issue. It's not a.
Well, it's not now, though. It's not now. It's not.
Your club took the hump when we kept partying in the away end.
Right. Well,
cut the allocations. I don't know. Right.
And
now Celtic are saying, okay, well, we're ready to open the dialogue again.
Yep.
And Rangers cannot guarantee our fans' safety.
But they can guarantee the safety. They're
currently not playing at your home stadium.
Right, and I just said, if you listened,
free experience.
If you weren't such an ignorant boy, you'd listen to what I just said. We'll be back in Ibrox in about 3 to 4 weeks. So the next fixture that we have,
was that 3 or 4?
I said 3 to 4 weeks is the time frame. Right. Okay. So that's fine.
Your package will arrive between 9 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Well, it's just like Amazon, and it no guarantee. Anyway, right. So what I'm saying is that the fixture isn't until January. So there's a 4 month window. The nets have been in, the planning permission's been submitted, but yet you've shat the bed. So this is a Celtic issue as much as a Rangers issue this season. I grant you, I'm not finished yet. Thank you. I grant you that in the past, Rangers did spit the dummy out and say, fuck you, we're not letting you in. But now they've actually made attempts. They've said you can get the away allocation of European numbers. I don't see the problem in that. When there's more home fans wanting to come into your stadium, you give them a European style away allocation. What's the harm? You guys do it.
It's not a European game.
Doesn't matter. There's still a demand there for both sets of fans at home to have more home fans in the stadium.
So your club spat the dummy, and now you're deciding slowly to not spit the dummy, and it's not a Rangers problem.
It's not solely a Rangers problem, Patrick. All right, okay, Patrick. All right.
Can I talk now? Are we all good?
On you go, pal.
Just for me as a neutral, it can't be a sustainable model going forward. This because, I saw it again. It's not the first time they've done it, but it was actually a topic on TalkSport, and it wasn't even like, actually, no, it wasn't a topic. They were just laughing at us, and it was horrible.
See, to be fair, right? It's like, for all I've been digging at Rangers, it's not just a Rangers issue. It's the league. We had our allocation cut at Easter Road and also in Paisley. Mm-hmm. There've been no, issue like significant. There's always there's always a element of of every football club, right? That's just going to happen.
Yep.
But there's been no incidents of note in the press at either Easter Road or in Paisley.
No, the Easter Road one there was, mate. There was.
Celtic,
The Easter Road one was bad.
No,
it was. And they basically said that they couldn't afford the level of policing, or they shouldn't have to pay for level of policing to basically deal with away fans. And the problem they've got is that a lot of the away contingent that comes from actually lives in Edinburgh, so it's like it's Celtic fans who live here, so they're staying here, and then they're causing issues coming to I don't live a million miles away from it, so I actually seen it. It wasn't great. But I do take your point. But again, what is your allocation for Easter Road, etc.?
So they got like a third of the stand, and yet the Hibs are currently crying out for investment in their team. And I'm like, well, there's a whole stand's worth of income you could have got yourself, but you're just deciding to, cut your nose off to spite your face. We cry out about the lack of investment in the league. I hate to say it,
yeah, I think we are on the same page. I think we do. I hate saying this. We have to move to the same model as the English Premier League, where it's done on a percentage, and if it's just that's it. Like away fans get, I don't know what it is, but it's I think it's 8%. Away fans get 8% in all Premier League games. End of discussion. You then have a responsibility. I know what you're going to say. St Johnstone had 3 stands for Rangers. Well, no.
No, I'm saying if you're going to bring in more money, then you'll be able to afford the policing of it. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Or make sure your home supporters are adequately policed and supervised. Anyway, do you know what I mean? You don't invite a stand's worth of football stadiums in and go, oh, oops, we didn't have it wasn't policed properly. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
Scotty, do you want to give the good people of this podcast the email address if they've got any questions for us?
Yes, if you have any questions for myself, Patrick, or Stephen, you can email us at theboyandthebear@gmail.com.
Thank you very much. Or you can follow us on Instagram, X, etc., where you can message us on there too. So, moving on to trivia, gentlemen.
Oh, God.
This week, with it obviously being the Old Firm Glasgow Derby, whatever the hell you want to call it, this week's question is, there are only 8 managers who have a higher win percentage of 50%. So only 8 managers have won 50% or more of their games in either playing Celtic or playing Rangers. 4 from each club. Okay?
Okay.
Now, as I said at the top of this episode, Scotty, if you get your 4th one, absolutely fair play to you. I'll give you the episode because I didn't have a Scooby-Doo who he was. But I would like you boys to take one turn apiece to see if you can name as many of them as possible. You each have 2 failures, so you can each get an answer wrong, and then I move on to the next person, and then it comes back to you again. So, and I'm going to be very strict on this one, okay, because the last couple have been an absolute shit show. So, Patrick, I'm going to start with you, please. Your first manager who's got higher than 50% ratio against Rangers.
Ange Postecoglou.
Correct, 55%. Scotty, your first guess, please.
Steven Gerrard.
Correct, 62%. Patrick?
Brendan Rodgers.
Yes, the highest on the list, 78% win record against Rangers. I thought it was absolutely staggering.
Wow.
Scotty?
Walter Smith.
Correct, bang on 50%.
That's not more,
56 games managed against Celtic, and he won 28 of them.
So that's not more than 50%.
I'm giving him it, Pat.
It's 50% or more, mate. Get up you.
We round up here, we don't round down. Stop being so negative.
Right. Neil Lennon.
No, 47%. Scotty, I'm going to come to you. No, that goes to Scotty, because you get 2 wrong. I give you away with 2. So Scotty, your guess?
Willie Waddle.
Yeah, he played 12 games against Celtic. He won one of them. 8%.
Alright, okay.
Well, you guess. Let's get guess, so. On to you, Pat.
O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill. Yep, 59%. 27 games, won 16 of them. Scotty.
So I'm thinking, obviously, Alec McLeish, but something in the back of my head makes me think he's just shy of the 50. But then I don't know whether to go with one of the longest serving managers in Rangers history, Bill Struth. But I don't know, again, if we're going all that far back or...
Oh no, it's since the start of time, mate.
Oh, since the start of time. Right, I'm going to say Bill Struth.
That is absolutely incredible, because I did not have a clue who he was, and he is on that list.
Thank
Bill
you.
Struth, 116 games against Celtic from 1920 to 1954.
Yep.
57%.
Yeah, longest serving Rangers.
The highest amount of wins against either of the two respective clubs. That is an unbelievable answer from you, Scotty boy. You've still got one life. Pat, on to you.
I'm still querying your. We might need to go to the VAR and Neil Lennon, but if we're going far back, I'm going to go with Jock Stein.
50%. Bang on.
Nice. Oh. Oh shit, okay. This has just got real now, innit?
Yeah, well, it has got real because Pat's got all four of his, mate, so he can't lose the episode.
So he can't lose?
You can't lose. I did say I gave it to you if you get Bill Struth, but you've got one. Yep. Yeah,
so I've got one to go. Right.
Yep.
Oh, fuck, I don't know. I've written a name down, Scott Simon, but I can't. I'm not 100% sure how many games he was in charge or how many he won. But again, Alec McLeish won a treble. Oh, yeah, bastard. This is tough. I feel like I've done quite well this week.
You've done exceptionally well, boys.
I feel like I've done quite well. So, oh, God. Where's phone a friend when you need him? Right, okay, I'm just going to go for it.
Your two pals are on this podcast, mate.
I know, my only two pals. Ah, fuck, right.
You're going to for dinner tonight, Scotty.
I know. I'm going to say...
Just sitting by himself.
I know. I'm going to say Scott Simon.
I'm gutted for you, Scotty.
Is that Alec McLeish?
For you. Nope. It's neither of them. But Scott Simon had a win ratio of 48%. He was closest. Alex McLeish had 32%, which I was surprised at. I thought he would have been better than that. It was actually Graham Souness, mate.
Was it?
27 games, 14 wins, so 52%.
Oh.
That was incredible, though, boys. Easily the best trivia we've had. So thank you very much for that.
That was a good question. Thank you, sir.
Let's not talk about the fantasy football. We'll just skip that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Come on, boys.
Well, I went from second, boys, right? Second, buzzing, to second bottom in the space of one game.
Nice.
I went from second bottom to bottom because Gabriel was playing a captain.
That was the only thing that cheered me up. But Scotty, I think you're second.
Yeah, I'm second. I'm outright second. So
who's top?
Outright second.
Kenny. I think it's
Kenny. And I seen Kenny at the weekend, and he was delighted to tell me that.
It's good.
Well done, Kenny.
Yeah, well done, Kenny. And that was
I love that we're one of the few podcasts that just pit their listeners against each other.
Yeah.
We've had a few messages and stuff about it, though, so it's been good. So, yeah, if you'd like to join our fantasy football, all you need to do is go onto Instagram, and it's right there, to be honest with you.
And the code is GDYMV.
Easy. Thoughts for the weekend?
I think it's going to be quite tough. I think it's going to be an onslaught early on, but I'm holding a hope for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Paddy boy?
3-0 Celtic.
Cool. I reckon Celtic will win 2-1. Gonna go for that, boys. Gonna go for that. You've been listening to The Boy and the Bear. You can email us your questions or complaints at boyandthebear@gmail.com. I don't know why we keep writing complaints in there.
Because Neil Lennon's managerial record was more than 50%.
And share this pod with your mates on your group chats. And please do follow us on our social channels, as we've just mentioned, Instagram, X, at BoyBearPod, and we are on YouTube now. All our podcasts go on there, so it is the Boy and the Bear podcast. Gentlemen, I wish you well going into the weekend. I don't think either of you are actually here, so it'll just be me watching the Old Firm.
Just be you. I'll be on a flight back from Prague, so I won't be able to see it. So
I've had a nightmare. I'm going to be in the wilderness of Scotland, probably up a hill with no signal, just like stressed out. So
don't worry, mate. I'll be posting in the group chat. You'll get them all in one go. Well, listen, boys, pleasure, and I will catch you soon.
Hail, hail.
Follow.
Daddy bye.